actually, the first couple of hundred years of Christianity, the people copying these scribes were not professionals by any stretch of the imagination. They were either literate slaves or the very, very few educated people. And the earliest manuscripts we have are the ones with the most wide, the widest variation, because they were copied predominantly by amateurs. The professionals didn't get involved until way after it was in Rome and in Latin, when it was copied in scriptoria in monasteries. So yes, I know the story you mean. Some guy, I wish I had my other book here. I don't have it. I'll have to go and grab it. No, yeah, that's written up in Misquoting Jesus. That's a great story, demonstrating the terrible copying practices of the ancient world. Even the official people were not very good at it. There's another one. There's another one actually on that. You'll like this story. I read it yesterday in this bigger book here. There's a copy, one of the best manuscripts we have of the New Testament, written somewhere. I think it was later. It was more like sort of 8th or 9th century or something like that. The guy copied out the same 300 words twice by accident. He's writing this thing. Bart Ehrman says, the sort of mistakes that we see in these subsequent copies indicate, just the guy was tired, the guy was distracted, the guy was, hungry, who knows what. But these little errors that come in. And some guy, often they skip lines accidentally, but this guy, for some reason, he must have been out of his mind, tired or something. He copied the same 32 lines or something twice. And in the second copy, in the second version of what he'd written, there are all these errors that completely, changed the meaning of what he wrote the first time. So he's copying out some text. He writes these 32 lines. So for some reason, he keeps on going and writes them out again. But he fucked it up. And it's evident with his own text. His own text is not consistent with itself. So what does it tell you about his copying practices? Who knows how much of the rest of what he wrote and what we have of what he wrote is reliable? There's absolutely...
That was the Magic Sandwich Show, one of their people. And they seem to be talking about Bart Ehrman, and Bart Ehrman is brilliant, and we're getting all the stuff by Bart Ehrman, and this guy who's talking quotes, misquoting Jesus by Bart Ehrman. Bart Ehrman his scholarship is a joke, basically. It's not objective scholarship. In misquoting Jesus, in order to substantiate his claims, he uses one example of an Egyptian scribe, as if that is the way the people who copied the New Testament did their scribe copying. So in other words, not very objective scholarship, alright? One example. Pretty bad. These people on Magic Sandwich Show think Bart Ehrman's brilliant, but if you've got any professionalism in theology in any shape or form, reading Bart Ehrman, you immediately find there's some big problems, and he is not as objective as he makes himself out to be, and as if the Magic Sandwich Show make him out to be. But if they had any professional nuance in theology, they'd be able to tease these things out, but they haven't got it at the Magic Sandwich Show, so you need to not listen to them. That's just one example. The other thing, Bart Ehrman's examples of using manuscripts and the copiers, mistakes in copies. If you do any analysis of textual criticism, Bart Ehrman's expose of textual criticism is completely not honest to the facts. In fact, it would be better to listen to his mentor, Bruce Metzer, who had a high regard for the history of the textual tradition of the New Testament, 1,000 times more higher than Bart Ehrman. There are many things that Bart Ehrman says. For example, like the person on Magic Sandwich Show says that, well, that they weren't professional copyists. That's an assumption. You can't verify that at all. That is just a subjective assumption. He makes examples of, say, for example, that slaves wouldn't have been educated to be able to do the copying and things like that. And It just complete misunderstanding of Roman culture and the education system in the Roman culture, that actually many people were actually educated more than he would actually Bart Ehrman would actually realise that many slaves came from different parts of the empire, and they were educated, many of them, and used to be employed in houses. The fact of the Dead Sea Scrolls that were discovered and backed up the faithfulness of the Jewish scribes, and the Christian scribes would have followed the Jewish example of meticulous care of copying text. So those are just some examples of the bad scholarship of Bart Ehrman, and the Magic Sandwich Show. You know, they're amateurs really, and you can see that as you're listening to them, as I'm listening to them. They are pretty amateurish, and it would have been easy to demolish them if I'd have come on the show, but there we are. They think they're educated, they think they know everything, but it's a shame really, but never mind. Alright, thanks for listening, God bless.